Every Sunday, Greater Covenant Cathedral was filled with people, music, power, and expectation. The services were polished. The choir knew when to sing. The congregation knew when to stand. Somewhere between honor and idolatry, the pulpit became a throne. Offerings were pressured. Titles were rewarded. Questions were called rebellion. The members knew their bishop's expectations, but many had never learned how to recognize the voice of Christ. But when truth entered the sanctuary, the music could no longer tell the people how to feel. Now he must choose between protecting his position and surrendering his life to Christ. A redemptive Christian novel about church hurt, inherited religion, spiritual manipulation, accountability, discipleship, and genuine repentance. When honor becomes idolatry, loyalty becomes bondage, and the pulpit becomes a throne, who will point the people back to Christ, pastor religion? When the pulpit became a throne, a novel by Stephanie M. Seaton. Coming September 1st, 2026.
Well, hello, and thank you for joining us tonight for a very special episode of the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show. Listen, go ahead and like, tag, share, and if you have not, make sure that you go ahead and subscribe. I promise you will not be disappointed with the content that we will have tonight. Tonight, we have an amazing lady joining us tonight. I had the pleasure of meeting her a couple months ago at the Black Girls Read conference. And Miss Shamicka Toney, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me, Miss Stephanie. How are you?
Listen, I'm very excited that we finally get to talk tonight and find out all the things that you've got going on. She's did a big chop since we saw her last, and we were kind of talking about this hair thing and how we all, go through these hair changes, right?
Absolutely.
But the thing is, when you're beautiful on the inside, you're beautiful on the outside. So
that's right. It shows through.
Yes. So, wow. Again, I'm very happy to have you here tonight. Tonight, we are going to talk about all things Shamicka C. Toney. And let's kick it off. Usually, it's kind of the thing that I have all of my guests introduce themselves. So let's kick it off. Please tell the audience, who is Shamicka Toney?
Well, awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm so glad that we finally get to connect, right? It's been a minute for us to finally touch base.
I know.
So I am Shamicka Toney. I am an author and motivational speaker. I have been writing, I've been writing on and off for several years. Used to write short stories, did some spoken word back in the day with the snaps.
Yeah.
And then I continued writing short stories and ended up writing a story into a novel, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And that has led to sequels and kids books and speaking engagements nationwide. And it's been just an amazing ride. I am also married. We've been married now for almost 23 years. We have 3 amazing young men. I've got a 28-year-old and 2 26-year-olds. And I'm just happy to be here. I'm a motivational speaker, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But I absolutely believe in the unstoppable power of what if that weaves all the way through my body. I am a woman of faith. I am a child of God. I am just a plethora of things and a little jack of all trades here and there, and then an expert at none. But I'd like to say that I like to dabble here and there. And so, yeah, that's just a little bit about myself.
Very good. All good things. So tonight, this is going to be an amazing conversation. Again, make sure that you share like, tag, and subscribe. Go ahead and get your popcorn or whatever you need to make sure that you're able to not miss a second. We're also going to share some links for Shamicka so that later on you'll be able to go back and support. Okay, she's got several book projects that she's been a part of as well. We're going to talk about that. And then you'll be able to go to her website and also see what she has coming up. She's going to talk to us about a little bit about that tonight. So let's go ahead and get kicked off. You've got several things going on. We've got the books. You have 4 published books. Then you have 2 anthology projects that you've been a part of. As you stated before, you're able to do motivational speaking and speaking on a large scale, and then the corporate training. When do you find time for Shamicka? Let's start right there. For all of, a lot of times us as women, we don't get to do a lot of things for ourselves.
Right. Yeah, I would say that. I'm so sorry.
I was just going to say, so when do you find time for you? What does that look like?
So I find time here and there. One of the things that I also love to do is garden. So gardening is my happy place. I'm always in the yard looking at my tomatoes and the zucchini and the green beans and all the stuff that we're growing out there. And so that really is my happy place, like just grounding and centering. But all of the projects that I do, so the writing and the speaking, all of those things fuel me because they're passions of mine. And so because I'm so passionate about it, it's something that gives me life, it gives me energy. And so even though I'm spending a lot of energy in these projects, like writing is a lot, it's a lot of creativity, and then motivational speaking and corporate training, like it's a lot, but these are things that I absolutely love. I have been in a teaching capacity in some way, shape, or form since I was 15 years old, right? Like, and even before then, if you think about participating in sports and being like a captain on the team or something like that, like it's woven into my DNA. So that teaching part, that leading, that educating, that motivating, that fuels me. And so that in itself is also time for myself because I love it so much.
I get it. When you find passion in something, it really doesn't seem like work. Would you say that?
Really, you got it. Absolutely.
Yeah. So when did you decide to become an author? Was it this aha moment where when you wrote your first book, were you like writing poetry and then it turned into a book? Kind of tell us what the journey looked like as far as becoming an author.
Yeah. So I'll go back to high school real quick. We had, in high school, you're doing book reports and reading, all those things. And in 12th grade, I had Miss Williams, 12th grade English. We did a book report and turned it all in. She graded all the papers. Whenever it was, she had this one book report and she was just raving about it. It was just amazing. It was great. It was this. It was this. And she wanted the writer to come and read an excerpt to the class. And so by the time she finished raving about it, I'm like, who is this? Like, come on, Miss Williams, spit it out. And she called my name. And I was like, wait a minute, what? And it was funny because Miss Williams, like, her eyes were twinkling. And I say it a lot, like I have it on the web, like her eyes were twinkling and she was smiling. And that stood out because Miss Williams wasn't known for smiling. And so she gave me, she boosted all of this in me, that I was actually a good writer. And after class, she pulled me aside and said, you should consider writing. And so she was like the one who dropped the very first seed in me that my writing actually was good. And so from there, I would write short stories, but never really did anything with them. But I always loved creating, right? Creating these things. And so I always did that. Then I moved into poetry and, like I said, did some spoken word. But in terms of like the book itself, where that came from, as sure as you and I are sitting here today, I was in Texas. It was 2003. I was in the shower and an image of a woman came to me while I was in the shower, right? And I was like, okay, didn't really do anything about it. And then in 2005, we moved to Illinois and I had a dream, that same woman and her brother. And I was talking to them in my dreams, just like I was talking to you right now. And had this really great conversation, got to know a little bit about their lives. And I was like, well, let me just write a little bit about them. And in fact, that's where their names come from in the book. Amia is the main character. She's the girl, and her brother is Jamari. Literally dreamed I had a conversation with them. And so I just started writing little bits here and there about the story. And then, life happens or whatever. That started writing in 2005. And then life happens, right? We'll talk about diagnoses and the kids and stuff like that. I finished the book in 2018. And I sat on it for an entire year because I let the devil get in my head and I let all the self-doubt get in my head. Like, girl, nobody wants to read this book. You've been wasting your time. This isn't good. You ain't half as good a writer as you think you are. Like, what have you been doing? Right. And so for an entire year, I sat on it, didn't do anything. And then 2019, I just simply said, well, what if? What if it is good?
Yeah. Yeah.
What if it is good? And I went ahead and I submitted it out to a couple of publishers, and here we go. Here we go.
Wow, that's amazing. So that kind of answered another question that, that I was gonna ask you, that the unstoppable power of what if, that kind of tied into there.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so tell us about the title of your very first book.
Yeah, so the title is Discovering the Covering. And it's funny that I wrote the book and it had another title the entire time that I was writing the book. It had a title. And then I finished it, and, in that whole year or whatever. And then when I decided, okay, let's go ahead and write it or go ahead and release it, I didn't like the title. Like, it didn't really rub me the right way. So I was on a walk with one of my girlfriends at the time, and we were talking. And as we were on the walk, the name came to me. And so that's where, like, literally we're having a conversation and boom, Discovering the Covering comes to me. And the book itself, it's a faith-based romance. So it's a Christian romance novel. It's a legal thriller. It's got a lot of things in it. And there's a secret that is a covering. And so Discovering the Covering is Amia discovering what the secret is and the covering that's been on her life as a result.
Wow. Okay. And book 2, 3, and 4, just kind of give us the names and a description of them. For those that are watching, make sure that you take note of the name, or you can go back and watch the interview. We're going to give you the link. Yeah. Oh, you've got the books. Yes. Go ahead and hold them up one by one and kind of give us a little bit about the books. Okay.
Yeah. So this is Discovering the Covering. This is the initial one that started it all. We're following Amia, who has gotten her very first job out of college. She's at the most affluential law firm in the nation. She's doing her thing and crosses paths with a stranger that shifts her world off its axis. And so she is suddenly finding that everything she knew about her life and her home suddenly isn't exactly the way that it was supposed to be. And so we're exploring how she comes to find out about this covering. So how she discovers that covering. So this is the first. And then the sequel is Approaching the Bench. And the sequel follows Amia several years later, as she is an in-demand attorney at the law firm, where she's also, without giving a spoiler, she's got a partner who is also very affluential, and the partner gets into some situations, let's say that, and they together are working to get themselves out of the situation. So essentially, as lawyers, they've made some enemies, they've gotten some people convicted, and there are some people who want some retribution about that. So they have to find and navigate their way through that as well. But again, faith-based all the way through, definitely legal thrilling. It is drama nonstop, because I don't like boring stuff. I mean, I just can't do boring. So it's fun. It's funny. It's quirky. Like, it's a lot of comedy. You're going to find yourself laughing out loud. You're going to find yourself on the edge of your seat. You're going to find yourself trying to go to sleep, but you can't because you need to get to that next chapter. Like, all of that is going to happen in both of those books.
Okay.
Yep.
And what about 3 and 4?
Yeah, so 3 and 4. So I I'm very passionate about our kids and making sure our kids are empowered as well. So I do a lot of empowerment with women and adults, but also kids because they're our future. And if you squash a child's dream, like you can alter their future, and you can alter our future because you don't know who that child is going to be. You don't know what purpose is inside that child. So I'm very much about empowering children. And so with that, I wrote a children's series, or I've started my children's series. This is Jameson the Fly.
Okay.
And Jameson the Fly. So Jameson the Fly is going to be a 6-part series when it's done. I have books 1 and 2 out right now. And so Jameson is a remarkable little guy with dreams as big as his wings. He wants to be a fireman. And so we are going to follow Jameson on his quest to become a fireman. And he's a fly, right? And so one of the things that's really cool about the story is no one expects a fly to be a hero, right? Everyone despises flies. Like, a fly is a hero, what? And so I really wanted to have an image or a character who was unassuming, who everyone kind of counted out. And he's the hero in all of the stories. So that is Jameson the Fly. And so again, book 1 is The Dangerous Snack. And then book 2 is The Impossible Rescue.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's really good. You've got something for the kids as well. And then she also has 2 anthology projects as well. Tell us about Shamicka the Speaker. I know that your main message, and you kind of said something about that a few minutes ago, is the unstoppable power of what if. And you kind of shared that a few minutes ago with, publishing the book, What If. Is that kind of where that came about?
That's literally, I think, every decision that has shaped my life and pretty much everybody's life. It's whether you recognize it or not, every decision that you make is based somewhere on what if, right? So the fact that when I was a single mom and decided to move to Texas to stay with my sister and help her out, that was what if I go to Texas, right? And then when I got into that spot in Texas, and then I got offered a corporate job in Dallas, well, what if I take it, right? And then, well, what if I go out on a date with that guy, that blind date, right? So it's all about a series of what ifs. And so one of the things that I think stops a lot of people in their tracks is that they think of what if and they go automatically to the negative side. What if it doesn't work? What if it's a failure? What if people laugh at me? What if I'm wasting my time? And so I talk a lot about, like, that is woven into the DNA of every single speech, because literally my life has turned on a dime since 2019 when I said, what if it's good, right? And I asked myself, what if it's good? What if these characters that will not let you sleep at night, what if these characters are supposed to be out there, right? And so my just having faith and stepping out on that faith and just going for the what if has led to 4 books, has led to the anthology, has led to Discovering the Covering, winning 2 International Impact Book Awards, and also being a finalist in the American Legacy Book Awards. And it's been written into a screenplay, and now I'm getting invites to speak to audiences nationwide. And all of that is what if I had never leaned into it, right? And then let me just back up half a step, because I don't ever want it to seem as if I did this, right? Like 100% this is ordained by God, right? Like let me be very clear on that. In that, it is all about me adhering to what if, stepping out on faith, just the faith of a mustard seed, and doing it.
As you were saying that, I was listening to you, and I was thinking to myself, you're saying the power of what if, and that is comparable to trusting. The power of what if, the power of what if, and we all have, like you said, we stand at the gate of what if we say, and you have the ability to say, what if it works? What if I have faith to believe that it's going to work? And then over here on the other side is the enemy and self-doubt and self-condemnation and all of those negative things that say, don't do it, but that when you say, what if, and you move into that direction, that is an act of faith. I was just, as you were talking, I could literally parallel see faith and what if. And the fact that you were giving the Lord credit and for the fact that because you followed the faith, because you followed the what if, your life has now changed. And listen, that is a message for somebody, not just for Miss Shamicka. It's a message for me as well. But, if you are watching this broadcast tonight, instead of letting the enemy steal what the Lord has for you, because the thing is, the Lord already has a plan for you when he created you. Okay. He already has a destiny. He already has it mapped out. Yep. But the thing is, a lot of times when the Holy Spirit begins to reveal the plan, when the Holy Spirit begins to reveal the plan and it comes to us, we let the enemies come in with that self-doubt and condemnation and all those things. But if you listen to the Holy Spirit and that faith, as Shamicka, the words were, what if? But, it's a faith walk. It's a faith walk. We've got to stand in there and take that chance, because when you have the Lord on your side, when you have the Holy Spirit on your side, you can't go wrong. And this is the thing, even if you make a detour, it still doesn't change the destination. Correct. If you got a map, if you have a Google Map system and you take the wrong turn, I promise you that Google Map is going to tell you, get back on course, or it's going to tell you recalculating, and it's going to still take you to the destination. So we have just got to get to the point that we take the step of faith and go with the what if. I love that, Shamicka. I love that.
And, the thing is, Stephanie, the thing is that as humans, fear is part of the game, right? It is just who we are. We're afraid of what we don't know. We're afraid of what we can't see. We're scared to go in that room where it's pitch black because it's pitch black. We don't know, right? It is a requirement of faith. Like, you do have to have that faith. And the thing about faith and fear is that you can't see either one of them, right? You walk out on faith, you can't see what's there. You just go, right? The fear, you can't see it. It's your imagination, right? Like, it's all the things that you think negatively could happen, where faith is all the other things that could happen, right? And so you choose which one you're going to walk with, and that's what's going to propel you forward. The other thing about it is, if you step out and if it doesn't work, you've got a life lesson that you've learned, you're more experienced, and when you're ready to try it again, and you will be ready to try it again, now you got more experience, right? Like, try it again. Yeah. I will always say it. The unstoppable power of what if. Ask yourself what if and lean into the positive side.
Yeah. And the good side of that, when we're talking about fear and faith, the Bible says that the Lord did not give us the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. And so when we're seeking the Lord for guidance and direction, fear is not the option. So that means we have to choose faith. Yeah. We have to choose faith. So for those of you that have just tuned in tonight, we are having an amazing conversation with Miss Shamicka C. Toney tonight. She is a woman of faith, an award-winning author, an inspirational and motivational speaker. She embodies the power of what if, and we are talking about that tonight. She was once a single mother navigating uncertainty, and she refused to let her circumstances define her. She just gave a powerful testimony for those of you that are just tuning in. And that powerful testimony was listening to the what if. And when she chose to go by faith with that what if, moving to a new city, a new job, ultimately finding love again, all those amazing things were able to take place with the possibility of what if. So, I mean, that is a testimony in itself. That should encourage you, right? Hey, that is a shout right there. That is a shout right there, Shamicka. Her mission is to inspire everyone, young and old. She has several book projects that she just spoke about, as well as children's books as well, anthologies. So she is doing some amazing, amazing, amazing things. We were talking about the unstoppable power of what if. For that person that is watching tonight, Shamicka, and they're stuck. What I know, you kind of touched on it, that you kind of thought, what if, but how do you get to that point? What does that look like?
The point of moving forward?
The point of getting to what if. What do you say to the, let me put it to you like this. I wrote this book one time called The Crazy Girl in My Head Has to Go. And it was an anthology project. Yeah, it was an anthology project. The crazy girl in my head has to go, because that's the girl that will tell you to sabotage, right?
Right.
That's the one that'll tell you to go with the self-condemnation. That's the one that'll tell you to do all the crazy stuff that, break up with him because he's got dirt under his fingernails. He could be a man of God, but you're looking at his fingernails because you're just so used to toxic and dysfunctional. You know what I mean? So it doesn't take much. But how do you get from there to stepping into the what if? What would you say?
Yeah, what I would say to that and to that individual is there's going to come a point where you're tired of doing the same thing. There's going to be a point where you're tired of waking up in the same situation, in the same circumstance, in the same mental state, and you have to do something different. And it's just going to call you to do that something different. You're already sitting there. Like, there are some people who are already sitting there. And one of the things that I also say a lot is that the cemetery is the biggest keeper of dreams, because there are so many people who did not act on their dream, who did not go and do that thing because they were afraid. The cemetery is the biggest keeper of dreams. So if you have that dream, if you have that something that you need to do because it's been slapping you on the back of your neck for the last 30 years, right? If there is something that won't let you rest, I need you to ask yourself, what if it works?
My God,
What if?
Wow.
What if it works, right? And then it's faith without works is dead, right? So you need to step on faith and get to work, right? Because you can't just throw it out there and be like, hey, God, this is what I want to do. Make it happen. No. No, you need to walk that out. So I would say lean into it. Go for it. Fear is always going to be there. Do it anyway. And so one of the other things that I say a lot when I'm speaking to, audiences is two things are going to happen with your dream. You're either going to go for it. You're going to make that transition. You're going to step out. You're going to do that thing that's nagging at you. Two things are going to happen. Either you're going to do it. You're going to work at it. You're going to massage it. You're going to detour. You're going to get there, right? Or you're not. Time is going to go by, right? 2 years from now, you're either sitting in the same place that you were, or you're doing something. You've made some steps along. So which one would you rather be? Go for it. Believe in the unstoppable power.
I love that.
What if it works? What if it's good? That's what I would say to that person.
I love that. You've been quoted as saying that it's impossible for you to worry. Where does that come from?
Okay, so going back to Dallas, had my baby, had a good friend who I didn't know anyone in Dallas. I just moved to Dallas with my baby because I got the job offer. And actually, that's not necessarily true. So there were two people in Dallas, one person who I knew, and the other person who I knew of. And I got the job at this company. And she was like, hey, I know you don't know my mom, but my mom will watch your baby at the time. Right. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to call this lady. I got to go to work on Monday. I had not been able to get a hold of her at all. So Sunday, I got to go to work on Monday. Sunday, I'm calling her and the phone rings until it stops. And I call back and the phone rings until it stops. It rings until it stops. I have nothing. I've moved. I paid a deposit on the place. I need someone to care for my child and I can't reach her. And so she finally answers and she was like, hey, I'm so sorry. I was in the bathtub and I heard the phone ring and blah, blah, blah. So she was like, and I get it. And as she starts speaking, I feel heaven coming through the phone. The level of peace that came through that phone when I was talking to this woman, I felt like I've known her forever. And I knew that my son was going to be safe. And so she would watch him as I would go to work. And there was this one time that my check got messed up. Okay. So I I go to church on Sunday. I have a quarter tank of gas on Sunday. So the offering plate is going by. And I'm like, okay, I got $3 in my pocket. The offering plate is going by. And God says, put $2 in the plate. And I'm like, no. That wasn't what I was planning to do, God. I wasn't going to do that, right? So I was like, I'm going to put $1 in the plate. That's it. And as the plate comes, right, it's coming. And I'm like arguing with God. And he's like, $2. And I was like, nope, don't do that, God. You know, I got a quarter tank of gas. My check, I can't do it. So here comes the offering plate. And I begrudgingly put $2 in. And I watched that plate go around and around and around and around, right? Okay. So Monday comes. I am at a 16th of a tank, right? Go, come back, go, come back. Take Tyler to Dave to Jan's, go to work, go get Tyler, go back home. Tuesday comes. Take Tyler to Jan's, go to work, go back to Jan's, go home. Wednesday, I'm on fumes. Okay. So I take Tyler to Jan's. I get to work. Now, I know for a fact because I'm on fumes. I know I'm not going to make it back to Jan's. And if I do, I'm definitely not making it back home, right? And so we talked every single night. We always did. She knew I was a single mom. She would always cook for me. She would never take any money. So she always made sure that I and Tyler had food. So we're talking, and that Wednesday, she's like, Shamicka, you okay? And I was like, yep, I'm good. You know, everything's good. And she was like, you know what, God, she's like, we always keep talking and I always forget. She said, on Sunday, God told me to give you $50. But because I want a double blessing, I'm going to give you $100.
My God, that's how he works. Yeah.
Listen, the way that
how he works.
The way that I cut up in that house that night on the floor, just that right there has been the catalyst for the rest of my life. I know for a fact that God has me.
Yeah.
Period. Full stop.
Yeah. He does.
From that moment on, I have never worried. Ever. And I cannot because I know that he's got me.
You remember? Yeah. Well, listen, I know what you're talking about because I've had so many of those moments. I had to write a book. I have a book that I wrote called The Voice of the Holy Spirit. And an example would be what you just said of how the Lord told me to do things that in my natural mind didn't make sense. But when you do them, and listen, what she just said tonight, I know it's true. I know it's true because he's had me do things like that before. You know, and I was a single mom for years. I had a situation that happened at church as well, Shamicka. I can't remember how much money I had, but I know it wasn't much. And I was trying to figure out how things are going to work. And a sister at the church, because I was trying to figure out, I don't remember what I was trying to figure out, but either way it goes, when I got to church, a sister came up to me and she hugged me and she slid money in my hand. and I was at the door of
Mm.
like, I don't know what I'm gonna, and it's happened like that so many times that, like you, I'm now at the point where they're, what's Shamicka, and I don't know who we're saying this for, but I know this is meant for somebody tonight.
Right.
There have been times where I was supposed to travel and go out of town to either minister or to promote my books, and I didn't have money for my hotel. I didn't have money for my food. I didn't have money for any of my stuff, but I knew I was supposed to go.
Yeah.
And I literally have been sitting with my bags packed, waiting to see what the Lord was going to do. And 2 hours before I got on the road, before I was supposed to get on the road, I'm literally sitting, waiting to see what he's going to do, Shamicka.
Yeah.
And a client that I talked to months previously, a potential client, let me say that, a potential client that I spoke to months previously was ready to pay their deposit and get started right then.
Wow.
It
Come on,
happens
girl.
so many times. Listen, it's happened so many times. For those of you that are watching, the Lord can do things supernaturally. He don't need you to do nothing. He only needs you to just be obedient. When he
Right.
tells you to go left, to go right, to put that $2, whatever he is telling you to do, it doesn't have to make sense. It's an act of faith so he can show you who he is.
Right.
Listen, that
So
could turn into a whole thing.
that'll preach by itself. That'll definitely preach by itself. Yeah. It's, yeah, I absolutely 0% chance that I can worry. I cannot do it. Can't do it.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Your books blend faith, romance, and legal intrigue all together.
Yeah.
How does your writing serve as a form of ministry, and messages to others?
Yeah. So one of the things that, just having a faith-based background, right? When I was writing, I wanted to write imperfect characters because there's no such thing. I mean, there was one perfect person who walked the earth, right? The rest of
Yeah.
us are a hot mess. And so I wanted to write I wanted to
Yeah.
write characters that
Yeah.
were hot messes, right? Like
Yeah.
there are people who we know in our lives. I mean, we might be some of them
Yeah.
that you just want to go have a conversation out in the backyard with them. Like there's a few of those people, right? There's a couple of them in the book. There's a couple
Yeah.
of people who can't, every other word is a swear word. And like that's just who we are, right? And so I wanted to
Reality that
write
there are those.
real people and I wanted to write real situations. And within the situations that happen in these characters' lives, they also happen in our lives. Like there's some hard stuff that happens in this book, but there's hard stuff that
Yeah.
happens in our lives too. And so one of the things that I wanted
Right.
to weave into the story was in the midst of all this hard stuff, right, is faith
Yeah.
and forgiveness and redemption. And there's light on the other side. And it's family. Like this family in this book and in the sequel is a very strong family, like loves each other immensely. Like they are very tight knitted, very much like my family, very tight knit family. But there are some things that
Yeah.
are going on, right? And so the faith that weaves throughout
Yeah.
it and is the theme through it gives that message that no matter
Yeah.
what's going on, you can still
Yeah.
lean on your faith. You can keep your faith. God has a reason for it. And then the
Yeah.
other thing that people forget, Minister Stephanie, is that nothing that happens to us surprises God, right? Like he's
My God.
not
So say that.
surprised.
Say that
He's
again.
not surprised. And so while we as humans are surprised, and while these characters are surprised, God's not
Yeah.
surprised, right? And so that's the other piece of the story that I weave into that inspirational message there. The legal part of it, everyone's like, hey, do you have a law background or anything like that? And I will just tell you that I am a law and order SVU junkie. And I have always been in.
Hey, you working it in there.
Listen, listen, if Law and Order SVU is on, don't talk to me right now. I love that show. So,
Yeah. You've been taking notes.
That is why one of the reasons I was able just to write so much in the legal realm.
Yeah. Hey, it pays to take notes, right?
Absolutely.
So let's kind of talk a little bit. My platform is about healing, empowerment, and transformation. And we all have stories. We all have had some moments that have happened in our lives before we got on the other side. And I really like to allow people a space to talk about that, because we have so many people that are, in situations that maybe haven't gotten to the other side. I know that you face significant challenges, including trauma and living with multiple sclerosis. How has your faith evolved through those experiences?
So what I will say is that I know for a fact that there is healing in believing in God. There's healing in faith, right? The other thing that I would say is that, again, God is not surprised at anything that happens. And so, I've definitely had significant trauma in my past, but I think most of us have like some different degree of trauma, where trauma that I've experienced, maybe there are millions of other people who've experienced it, but maybe there are millions of people who haven't, but they have another form of trauma. So maybe there was a break-in in the house and now they're traumatized by the break-in, or there was a car accident, or they found someone who they loved deceased, or there was gunshot. There's any level of trauma, right? There was wrongfully arrested, there was sexual abuse, there was whatever that trauma is. Most people on earth, as long as they keep breathing, are at some point going to experience some level of trauma. And so what I would say is the where you grow, right? If you're not on the other side of trauma yet, what I would say is just keep putting one foot in front of the other, keep breathing, right? Inhale, exhale, find something that allows you to ground yourself and to move on. So find something that gives you joy. Find God, right? Like cast your cares upon the Lord, right? And you will find that as the days go on, the trauma doesn't disappear, but the sting of it diminishes more and more. Good. So it's never. I heard a story one time. A lady once said about her son who was killed. A lady once said that it is never going to be okay that he was killed. She said, but one day it will be all right. And so that was the message that I heard from her, and I kind of infused that into who I am. That thing that happened that was so terrible, that's never going to be okay. But eventually it is going to be all right. And so you just keep walking it out. Keep walking it out. If you need to go to counseling, please do. And I need someone to hear me. Counseling is not about being weak. It does not mean that you are weak. It does not mean that you can't figure it out. It doesn't mean that you are just useless or pitiful or whatever. There is, for those of us who go to church, so I'm going to talk to those who don't go to church in a minute, but for those of us who go to church, there is a doctor who is sitting in the pew next to you. There is an attorney who's sitting over across the way. There is a therapist who's sitting over there in the front. There are teachers. There are all kinds of professions that, praise God, serve him faithfully, right? So if you have a therapist who is on the next pew over, trust and believe that that therapist is good at what they're doing, right? That therapist believes in God, but they also are there to help you get to the next level. They're there to help you get over it. The doctor, where a lot of people fear going to the doctor, they don't want to hear what the doctor says. That doctor may have graduated top in their class, or maybe they graduated high up in their class, or what. They're a doctor, right? And they're worshiping God, and they're in that church. So let's stop. Let's stop avoiding therapists. Let's stop avoiding doctors. Let's stop avoiding all of those things, and then lean into the help that God is sending us. Okay, so that's for our believers. And then I would say for those who haven't found their way, and maybe religion is not your thing, I would still say talk to someone about what's going on. Their job is to help you uncover it, right? You can't heal until you find and you face whatever that thing is, because if you're just putting band-aids on top of it, that is not going to heal something that requires stitches, right? Like something that requires
wait a minute,
band-aids on top of it. You can't do anything with that.
That was so profound. Wow. Say that again. I haven't seen. You've said so many of them tonight.
Yeah. You cannot put a band-aid.
Go ahead.
You cannot put a band-aid on something that requires stitches. It's not going to work.
My God.
Yeah.
My God, that is powerful. That is powerful. And another takeaway tonight, it is never going to be okay, but one day it will be all right. There were so many powerful takeaways from tonight, Shamicka. Wow. I tried not to stop you every time you did one, but I really like catchphrases because they really make people think. When you say something profound like that, it really shifts the conversation because it makes people think from a different angle. My God, that was powerful. Yeah. And so many times we've been taught, Shamicka, that's the problem. We've been taught to put band-aids over everything, that everything is okay. It's just a cut. It's just a scratch. It's just this. It's just that. That doesn't take away from what it is to say it's just this. The Band-Aid is not going to heal something that's 10 inches deep. You're going to be still bleeding out, okay? Because you didn't get the stitches.
And mad that you're still bleeding.
Wow.
Yeah.
And yes, and mad that you're still bleeding and not able to do everything you're supposed to do because you got to baby the wound.
Right.
You got to baby it. You got to, half do this and half do that because it's not healed. Right. We're speaking in metaphors, but I know somebody's picking up what we're talking about here tonight.
Yeah, pick it up.
Oh, that is so good. Hey, pick it up. Well, I will say this. Whether you are a believer or you are, looking for the answer is always going to be to the cross. In order for you, if you are fed up and you're sick and tired of going in cycles, you're tired of the repeating patterns, from one relationship to another, one job to another, and you are the common denominator, sometimes it hurts, but we have to look in the mirror. In order for us to be able to make a change, a 180 change, like Shamicka was talking about, the what if, and then, relocating to another city, a new job, childcare lining up, finances lining up, a spouse lining up. In order for all those things to happen, we've got to get to a point of surrender that we're tired of doing it our way. So we choose to do it the way that the Lord wants us to do it, because ultimately it's His plan. And as we continue to fight the grain and try to do it our way, we're only making it harder for ourselves when we could. And just think, so let me flip your what if on you, okay? What if you hadn't done those things? What if you had not moved? Let's flip this for a moment, because I know it's unimaginable now. But what if you hadn't moved? What if you had stayed at the same job? What if you had stayed single? I mean, it's so, when you flip that thing, you really see how powerful what you did changed your life.
Absolutely.
And I hope that somebody watching tonight, because I'm listening. I'm going to be over here thinking the rest of the night, like, Now, most of the time, things that I have thought or put on my mind, I have done it. I'm one of those people got about 20 things going on, but I have to sit sometimes and tell myself, okay, that one doesn't make sense, or this one. And so now you got me reevaluating, I'm over here reevaluating, like maybe I should have done that. I had this idea, and this is something funny, but I had this idea years ago. I was married at the time, and I had this idea for a creation, and I think that they have something similar to it out now. At the time, the way that the mechanism came to me is I was going to call it the pimple popper. And what it was going to be something that you put on a pimple and it popped the pimple for you. Well, now they have something like that. I thought of this probably 10, 15 years ago, but I didn't know the steps. I didn't know the steps of what to do. And at that time, I didn't have the the network. And without having the information of what to do, I didn't know what to do with it. Well, now they have came out with all kinds of pimple poppers. And I thought to myself, like, what if I had known what to do?
What if I had done
that could have been me.
Yeah.
What if I had done it? I truly believe that when the Lord gives you ideas, if you don't do it, he'll give it to somebody else.
Give it to somebody else. Absolutely.
Because
it will happen.
Yeah.
It will happen.
It will happen.
It's going to happen. If it's not you, it will be someone else. And the other thing that I would say that stops a lot of people is the fact that, they don't know. And because they don't know, it stops them. Whether it's opening a store or it's doing a product or it's writing a book or it's whatever, somebody who, if you want to open a bakery, someone who has a bakery, right? You can ask them.
Yeah. Reach out.
Someone who is they're a vendor, they're selling clothes. You can ask them questions. Most of us who are professionals love giving others information to help them be successful, right? I don't lose anything. You don't lose anything. If you have a candle and you light another candle, you don't lose the light on your candle. The room gets bright.
That's right.
So share your knowledge. Like, people are willing to give you information and they're willing to help you with whatever it is that you're looking for to help you get to the next level. So I would say just ask the questions. Start there. Yeah.
Ask the questions. Find someone that's doing what you're doing.
Yep.
And see if they'll have a consultation with you or join forces with you. Because that's how it happens. The Bible says my people perish because of the lack of knowledge. But the way that we get the knowledge is you don't have to know everything. You just got to know somebody that knows something. And then they know somebody that knows the next step. And it just keeps going. So listen, I'm going to give you 3 words. And I want you to choose which one of these words stands out the most to you and why. Healing, empowerment, transformation.
Okay. Healing, empowerment, or transformation. I am going to go with transformation. And the reason that I'm going to go with transformation is if you transform, you can get healed. And that transformation is going to lead to empowerment. And so
I love it.
Yeah, I would absolutely go with transformation because everything starts with a change, especially in my world of what ifs. It all starts with a change. So you change, you can heal. You change, you can empower. That would be my transformation.
Love it. Listen, I'm going to show the links again. We have 2 different links for Shamicka. Info at shamickatoney.com, and then also for her website, we've got www.shamickatoney.com. Make sure that you reach out and check out what she's got going on her website, her books, her speaking engagements. What do you have as far as events? Do you have any events coming up, Shamicka, that we can let everyone know about?
Yeah, I do actually have a speaking event tomorrow. And I have one later on this month. In August, there is an event in Bolingbrook, Illinois. That is, I'll be at the vendor, and the name of it is escaping me. I'll have to drop it later, but there's that. And then in September, there is Joy Fest. And so Joy Fest is a huge event out here in Illinois that has people from all over the country coming in. It's put on, and it's a phenomenal event. So I'll be at Joy Fest in September, and I'll be there with my books, and I'll be there with my artwork. So I've got art behind me. I taught myself how to paint over COVID. And that's my other happy place. So painting and gardening. But yeah, so I'll have my novels there, and I'll have some of my artwork there, and I'll be at Joy Fest, and then a couple of additional speaking events later on this year.
Very good, very good. So make sure that you reach out and support Shamicka through her books, through her platform, see what type of event she's got going on that you can be a part of. On next week, I will have the pleasure of being in Macon, Georgia. I am so excited about going to Macon, Georgia. I am the president of the DFW chapter of Rho Alpha Tau. For those of you that don't know, that is a Christian sorority fraternity. We are biblically based. We're not pledging to anything but the Bible, okay? But we are having a conference in Macon, Georgia. And so myself, as well as some of my sorors and frats, are going to be going to Macon, Georgia. And I'm so excited about that. If you want more information about being a part of Rho Alpha Tau, make sure that you reach out to me, send me a personal message, and I can give you more information about that. So we will have a couple of pre-recorded interviews on next Thursday. I will not be live on next Thursday because I will be in Macon, Georgia. And then the following Thursday, I will not be live because it is my birthday week. So we will have 2 weeks of recorded episodes, but I know you're going to love and enjoy watching those broadcasts. For those of you that are available on July the 25th, on July the 25th, I am having a book signing brunch in Terrell, Texas at Emma and Zoe's Cafe. It is a book signing / birthday celebration because my birthday is actually the 29th. So if you want to support me, the best thing you can do is come out and be a part of my birthday book signing brunch. That would be an amazing gift. And it is for my book, When Loneliness Speaks Louder Than Faith, which is a book that centers conversations around loneliness with Christians, Christian singles, and trying to do things God's way. So this is the book cover here, When Loneliness Speaks Louder Than Faith. I have also created a 5-song CD for Christian singles, which is just an encouragement that, you know what, the Lord has a plan, okay? And don't let that loneliness lead you into something that becomes a stronghold, okay? So again, Shamicka, thank you so much for being here tonight. It's been amazing having this conversation with you tonight. Regardless of when you see this broadcast, make sure that you go into the comment section and click on the links so that you can support Shamicka. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you, Shamicka, for being here. Hope to talk to you again soon, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Again. Happy birthday early. Happy early birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Y'all have a good night. See you next time. Bye-bye.
When Loneliness Speaks Louder Than Faith by author Stephanie M. Seaton is now available on all major platforms.
When loneliness speaks louder than faith, speak louder, Lord, speak louder, remind me. This isn't punishment, it's preparation. Remind me, you are my Father, and you love me well. Remind me, you created me. to be patient in faith, because your time